What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Homebrew Subaru. In this episode we'll be checking this Impreza for an oil leak and preventive maintenance. What's up everyone? So you may or may not notice, but I do have my camera on my new gimbal. The gimbal arrived last week, and I would almost do like a review on it, but you know, I'm not really like a tech reviewer, so there doesn't really make sense for me to do something like that. I will probably end up putting the link down in the description just so you guys can kind of have a look to see what I did buy if you're interested. And then eventually someday down the road I will do like a video on the gear and software that I'm using to actually make YouTube videos. I think that would kind of be a cool episode to switch it up a little bit. But today we are looking at this Impreza. The customer has noticed a little spot of oil in the driveway, and they actually smell it burning off the exhaust when the car runs for a little while. So, you know, I'm kind of thinking, you know, it's valve cover gaskets are known to leak, but the head gaskets are also known to leak oil on these. So it's something I really have to have a good look at. They're not sure if they're going to actually keep the car. They really like the car, but you know, to put the money into this one and then continue driving it as opposed to getting something newer, that's something I'm going to help them make the decision on, I guess. Kind of go through it, figure out the parts and labor, and just give them a quote and see if they want to go ahead with some of this stuff. So I guess the first thing really is I've got the car up on the ramps. I'm going to slide in underneath, and we're going to have a look for oil leaks and see what we find. Okay, so first thing we notice right away, a lot of oil buildup on the jack plate. This is common when you have oil leaks on a Subaru. They gather around the oil pan generally, and that jacking plate. You also may see signs of it going onto the exhaust, which you kind of see a little bit over here on the shield. But having a look up in here, we can see that the oil filter is nice and dry, nothing loose. Going back and looking up in here, that head gasket appears to just be seeping a tiny bit. No reason to be very concerned at this point, but signs of a leak for sure. And then further back over here, might be difficult to see on the camera, that valve cover does look to be dry, so it's possible those valve cover gaskets have been done. So over on this side though, there is quite a bit of oil buildup and definitely signs of a head gasket leak. You can kind of see up in there how it's kind of, you know, just gumming up with cooked oil. You can kind of see the shine of the head gasket and where the oil's been washing it up a little bit. Out here, the valve cover looks to be fairly dry. It might be a little bit of this front corner with a little something on it, but I mean, oil's actually collecting on the exhaust, and it looks drier out on that side than it does up in here, especially around this block plug and just a little bit of the oil pan. But it's not really building up on the oil pan very much. It's just kind of coming down onto the exhaust here and burning, and whatever else is building up here. Could have a little bit of a rear main leak, but it's a little bit hard to tell. It does look a little bit moist up in there. It's definitely hard to see with the camera. So after having a good look at it, it is the driver's side, left-hand side, or bank 2 head gasket that is leaking. It is going to require a replacement to stop that leak. It's not serious, and they don't generally get very serious, but once to the point that it is seeping, it will always seep. So identifying the head gasket as the oil leak, pretty much the engine's got to come out and the timing's all got to come apart anyway. So, I mean, we would go for timing a replacement at that point. All the timing components would be replaced with the head gaskets, replacing seals at the same time, and then putting the thing back into the car. Now, I still do want to show you how you can quickly check out your own timing belt on one of these EJ 251, 253s, single overhead cams. Quite simple, but I'll give you a quick rundown of how it's done. So, gonna take out this coolant bottle, and then there's 3 10 mil bolts, and the cover will come out once that coolant bottle's out of the way, and it'll at least give us a good look at the timing belt to see what the condition of it is. So I mean, it's really easy to get to the actual timing belt for inspection. Doing the job's a little bit more, but the cover just has those 3 bolts on it. And once the coolant bottle's out of the way, which this one doesn't even have bolts, it's just a little clip, and the bottle comes out of the way, then you can actually at least see this side of the timing belt. What we're looking for here, on the back side, you can actually see where the ribs have caused a depression in the actual belt, and it changes the appearance of the backside of the belt, and you can kind of see where the ribs are now. You may actually feel a little bit of them as you put your hands across the belt. It appears this is an original Subaru belt, probably the original to the engine. The cam seals don't appear to be leaking. There doesn't appear to be any signs of oil leaks in the front, so those actually could be left. It is possible. But if it's all coming apart, likely those will get changed at the same time. If I pull the engine, do the head gaskets with multi-layered steel gaskets, which is kind of the normal now, and the timing set, this car's good for like another 150,000. Would have great resale value at the same time. So I gotta kind of get all that together and see if he wants to go for it. Hopefully he does, because I like working on Subarus for one, and it would be a great deal for him for two. So yeah, that's basically how to go about checking your head gaskets for an oil leak and just having a quick general inspection of the timing belt. It's not too big of a deal, but if you're not really sure what you're looking for underneath the car, you could just basically have a leaking oil filter and someone sell you head gaskets, and that's not something you want to get stung on, if you know what I mean. Because not everyone's honest in this world, and you got to look for the right people in life. So yeah, if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here and you haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button for me. Leave your questions and comments further down below, and I'll see you in the next one.